I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Finally, The Rock has come back. I hate this idea that you're the best.
And if you're not down with that, we got two words for ya!
I'm the best in the world.
I fight at WrestleMania for the very, very small percentage of people that walk this planet and say I am proud to be, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
It's Podcast of the Immortals with your hosts, Matt Bush and Jimmy Bellamy.
All right, welcome to episode 21 of Podcast of the Immortals. I'm Matt Bush.
I'm Jimmy Bellamy.
Live and in person this time.
In the flesh, we're back in the same room. It feels good, especially since it's close to midnight.
Yeah,
and
we're having a brewski.
We're not having a brewski. We're each having one. We're not sharing a beer, man.
No. But yeah, following up, we had a Raw. Following up after that awesome Raw last week that we were so excited about, I was a little disappointed by the fullness of the Raw. There were moments in it, but it didn't quite live up to what happened last week, and I was a little disappointed.
My expectations were low. They usually are going into, I should say, off the heels of a tremendous Raw.
Yeah.
This one was one of the best ones I've seen in a long time, so I expected this week to fall short.
I feel like what they do after they have a huge show, it's like, see? We can do it. And then they like spend the rest of the next show like saying how awesome last week's show was. And I feel like that's kind of what they did this week, and they kept recapping Mark Henry's, retirement speech and the Daniel Bryan stuff and all that. Instead of trying to build upon it, they just kind of recapped and just tried to tread water, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That disappoints me every week when they do waste time with the recaps. We've talked about how you could fill those 3 hours
with wrestling,
hour by hour. And that's what they did last week. Was the content that was focused on was the actual matches. This week, I think they maybe felt a little panicked, feeling that like they had to fit in some of the talent that wasn't used the previous week. So you got to see tons of funk. You got to see, I guess a deeper angle involving Kaitlyn and AJ and some of the other divas. Yeah, Ryback was back.
Yeah. It reminded me, last week reminded me of the Sum 41 classic album, All Killer, No Filler, which I feel like they just filled the whole show and just made it really solid from beginning to end without any filler. And this week kind of had a lot of filler. It felt like, I don't know, like when you open a bag of Doritos or a bag of chips,
and it's mostly
air, and you're like, well, son of a bitch, I kind of got gypped here. That's kind of what it felt like. It felt like half empty.
I don't want gypsies to be offended by your statement there.
Well, what are they going to do? They don't listen to this.
What are they going to do? They're probably going to wear really shiny dresses and have a wedding,
flowers in their
something
hair.
like that.
One thing that was really great though was the Daniel Bryan stuff once again.
Yes,
they kicked off the show.
Yes,
I'm like, oh wow, they're going to kick it off. It lasted like a minute. Yes, and double DQ, and then they put it to the fans because they're going to have a rematch, basically a fourth match. If you were counting that,
I voted.
You did?
I voted with the WWE.
Did you vote for the lumberjack match?
I voted for the street fight. I think it was my vote that put it over.
That's good because I think it only had like 98% votes.
I'm such a follower.
But so they bookended Raw with the Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton stuff, and boy, what a match to end the show for the main event.
Loved it. And I think we are seeing one of the next great rivalries in wrestling. Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton every week now have put on a show, and really for the audience, you have to say they've been worth the price of admission on the Raws and on the SmackDowns that they've been face to face. Even when they were teaming together, the tension that they provided made for a good show. I want to see a heel Randy Orton feuding with Daniel Bryan.
I really thought we were going to get a Orton turn last night.
It came close. I thought it was going to happen as well with the handshake at the end.
Mm-hmm. Which handshakes never end well in WWE. Like, you're always kind of like, oh boy, here we go. And you're kind of yelling at the screen like, you idiot, don't shake his hand. He's going to, whatever, he'll super senior you.
He's going to RKO you.
Yeah, he'll RKO you. And this time they didn't. This time they shook hands, and looks like Randy Orton's still a good guy for now. I don't know.
Well, I'm cool with it because this definitely wasn't their last match against each other or their last encounter.
Yeah.
And, of course, we have news that we'll get to in a little bit regarding Money in the Bank, but those two will be in the same match, so I'm sure they're bound to have some kind of involvement with one another.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm really excited about that. The people in that match. I'm really surprised by how loaded it is. You know?
Are they going to have a World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank match?
It would make sense to do it. I mean, they have the last 2 years, and it gives them more storyline options as far as how they cash in. Last year, John Cena and Dolph Ziggler won. Cena cashed in almost immediately on Raw 1000, but he didn't take advantage of anything. He had an actual match that he lost, and then to CM Punk, of course. And then Dolph Ziggler held it for like 9 months.
Yeah.
And just cashed it in at Raw After Mania on April 8th. So, I mean, it just gives you more options, and I think that's probably what they'll do. They'll probably have two. I don't know who could be in Cody Rhodes.
The reason I'm confused is, now correct me if I'm wrong, Ryback Jericho was made for Money in the Bank. Mm-hmm. Those are two guys who I think would be in the World Heavyweight Championship ladder match for the World Heavyweight title.
If anyone should be in the WWE ladder match, it should be Ryback.
Well, yeah, of course, but we have our 7 competitors for that. And by the way, in the past, wasn't it 8?
The original ones, I believe, were 8, like the ones at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then they've kind of cut them down to about 6, it seems like, when they split them. And the WWE Championship one last year had like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Because they had that stipulation where everyone had to be a former champion.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
The people I thought, if they have a World Heavyweight title match, excluding the people already booked in matches for Money in the Bank, I thought of people like Dean Ambrose, Antonio Cesaro, Damian Sandow, Cody Rhodes,
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett, I don't know about. I mean, just with how he's been treated lately, Miz is a possibility. And I wish I would have written it down because there were several that I thought of, and trying to keep it to 7. I had a list of 7.
Yeah. Well, that World Heavyweight
think of them in a little bit.
Ladder match has really propelled a lot of people recently. Mm-hmm. I mean, Daniel Bryan won it 2 years ago. Dolph Ziggler won it last year. The year before was... who was it?
Was it Punk?
I don't know. Punk's the only one who's ever won it twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people, their careers have really taken off, even though it's not like for the WWE Championship. Mm-hmm. Even winning one of the Money in the Banks is a pretty prestigious thing right now. I liken it. They used to have the King of the Ring, which was great, but it didn't do anything for you. Like, you're like, okay, well, you won the King of the Ring, but you're still not champion. You still don't have a chance to be champion. It's kind of like the All-Star games in sports. Mm-hmm. But now with this Money in the Bank, it's kind of like the MLB All-Star game where it matters. Like you can get home field advantage, and you definitely get home field advantage if you win one of the contracts.
But just touching on King of the Ring, since you brought it up, most guys were able to capitalize on those moves, those wins. 2 guys who jump out at me that didn't, or 4 actually: Mabel, Billy Gunn, William Regal. And William Regal, I think, was on his way to a run, but then was suspended for substance abuse or a wellness violation. And then the other one who has, I guess, to an extent, which is weird because he was already a WWE champion before he won it, was Sheamus. But I mean, his run kind of stalled. He was King Sheamus, and they almost immediately dropped that gimmick because it wasn't, gaining any steam.
Yeah, they've tried to run with a lot of those King guys. They had King Booker, King Sheamus. They had, even back in the day, they were I was just watching WrestleMania 4 and there was a King. But it wasn't Jerry Lawler.
Harley Race.
Yeah, King Harley Race.
Harley Race, he ended up losing it to Haku.
Yeah.
And then Haku ended up losing it to Macho Man. So you had them. While I'm on the subject of the Money in the Bank ladder match, the other possibilities, of course, they could throw in the Big Show. They could throw in the Great Khali, God forbid. But they could do that. They could throw in Curtis Axel, but I don't think they will because he's the IC champion. I see that as a title that will be defended. And he has that program or involvement with Punk right now.
Yeah.
And Big E Langston's another guy they might be able to throw into that mix.
Would be interesting. But the other members of the Shield,
I think they'll be defending the titles against the Usos.
Yeah, they are actually.
So
and I'm really surprised the Usos are going to be in the number one contenders. Like they had that number one contenders match last night between the Primetime Players and the Usos. And I'm like,
what? And Tons of Funk as well.
Oh yeah, triple threat. Well, I mean, everyone knew Tons of Funk weren't going to win, but.
I was hoping, and I'm not joking. It sounds like something stupid, but Kofi Kingston, if he's healthy, he could be in that.
Yeah,
match as well. They do
tend to put him into those kind of matches.
Maybe R-Truth, I don't know. But I was hoping Tons of Funk would win, just because I'd like to see them take on the Shield. And out of those three groups, I thought, okay, they all stand an equal chance because they're all kind of irrelevant in their own way. But the way the Usos have looked in recent Raw appearances, they've been made to look very strong. So I thought, okay, if I have to pick one who I think will win, it's going to be the Usos. And sure enough, it was.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see what they can do. They've really impressed me in the ring. They as a character, I still have no idea who these people are. Like, why should we care about them? So maybe this will give them a little more spotlight to, I don't know, go further.
As a grammar and punctuation freak, though, I do have to file a complaint with WWE. The Usos Tron video, it has an apostrophe, USO apostrophe S on that part of the video, and that's not necessary. We don't need the apostrophe there. I'm a dick. Sorry.
We had there was another tag team match beyond the triple threat number one. It was like a throwaway match, and I didn't understand the pairings and like what was the purpose. They had the Rhodes Scholars taking on Sheamus and Christian, and like I didn't know Sheamus and Christian were buddies for one. Why were they tagged up? There was they're on a team.
There was no explanation, and this might be one of WWE's many times where they just do something. They just throw something together and don't explain it or give you a backstory. But it also might be the start of just a program where these two go on a run, and I don't know. I'm just glad they didn't have some hashtag team stupid name after them.
Well,
although what would it be? Would it be Christmas? Oh my God, they would call them Christmas. I guarantee
Team
they would.
Christmas.
Yeah, Team Christmas.
And then they could have someone get really upset about the use of Christmas, and they would have to change it to holidays, Team Holidays.
Oh gosh, like how good is that? Or would they be Shashan?
No, they'd be Christmas. I don't understand the pairing. Like I was really excited about Christian's return because they had talked about we're not bringing him back until we have something awesome for him. And if this is it, it's gonna be crappy. Team Christmas comes early. Yeah, because it's summer. Great, just what I need. 6 months of Christmas. You know, while we're talking about Christmas, you know what I hate? You know what I hate?
What?
The day after Thanksgiving, the Christmas music starts on the radio around here.
Yes.
And it lasts until like February.
That's awful.
I do not need 3 months of jingle bells. Okay. December 20th, that's when you start it. And it ends December 25th. I do not need 3 months of Christmas music.
And here's the problem.
Me absolutely insane.
We don't have enough Christmas songs to warrant that much time. It's just like if you had any type of, you could take like a Now That's What I Called Music, whatever they're on. I think they're on 47 or something, maybe even 74. I could have it transposed. You take one album of Now That's What I Call Music, and then you had 2 to 3 months of just covers of the
those
18 songs on that album, you'd get sick of it no matter what, because every Christmas song, it doesn't matter if it's a new one, or it doesn't matter if it's like, 20 years ago, Mariah Carey had All I Want for Christmas Is You, and now that's a Christmas staple.
Yeah.
And now I think they're even starting to do covers of that, which means I'm old. But every Christmas type song, even if it's new, it includes the bells, and it has that same kind of sound or feel, or that like like that light, like non-offensive, like easygoing guitar type sound.
Anytime I hear something like that, I think of Home Alone.
Yes.
That's what I gotta think of.
Around. One of the greatest movies ever.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my god. I saw that movie, not to get too far off track, I saw that movie on opening day at the Miller Hill Mall, which no longer has a theater. No. But my friend and I, I'll have to do the math, but I think it was a Christmas '91 release. So I was 10, if that's correct.
I believe
I was 10 years old, and we snuck into near the front of the line. The line was going back. Do you remember where the theater was?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Listeners, non-Duluth listeners aren't going to understand this, but the line was going around Hellsberg Diamonds, which, to put it into perspective for people who've never been to the Miller Hill Mall, it's close to a city block.
Yeah.
I'd say that's close to a city block distance.
Yeah.
And we walked into the front entrance, right where the front of the line was, and it was curling around quickly. And instead of going way to the back, we snuck in like third or fourth in line. And I mean, maybe people saw us and they're like, oh, they're little kids, who cares? Either way, we got in, got to see the movie. It was awesome.
It was awesome. And times have changed so much. Like, I remember 1994 or 5, whenever Jurassic Park came on. I think it was
93, because it's 20 years.
It was 93,
It's 20 years now. They had that 20-year anniversary. 3D.
I remember going to the Miller Hill Mall, like, time after time after time. Sold out. You couldn't get in. Like, it was an event.
Sorry.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. No, I was so excited for that movie, and I had to wait, because every time I went up there, it was sold out. Kids these days, they get in midnight, they have 15 screens on midnight, they can see whenever they want. But it meant more, because you got to brag, like, oh yeah, I got in.
Yeah.
And 90% of the people who wanted to go couldn't see it yet. So it was more of an event, it was more prestigious. You got in. They don't have that anymore.
Not really.
Which I kind of like, because I love going to see my movies right when they come out.
Yeah.
But
I saw Jurassic Park on a Sunday with my whole family, all 6 of us, at Cinema 8. Loved it. Holy crap, that was a great movie. Oh, yeah. All right, back to the wrestling.
Speaking of
Funkasaurus. Somebody call my mama.
Well,
are you going to talk about Scotty Campbell?
No. Another thing that I loved about Raw, and we've been talking about the Divas for a while now, about how great they've been.
Oh, yeah.
I loved the crap out of AJ's segment this week.
Yeah.
Like, Kaitlyn was wrestling Oksana. I'm like, okay, well, throwaway match here. And Kaitlyn's music hits, and Kaitlyn apparently thought Kaitlyn was going to run down and spear.
That is just... That's one of the things that bothers me. It's just like when you have a guy like Triple H or Jericho fighting a match, and they somehow allow like a referee distraction or an outside distraction, like cause them to lose or maybe like lose momentum. It's like, how long you've been wrestling? How long? And you're falling for this? Come on!
I know.
That was maybe the dumbest thing ever. That she'd be like, "What? My music playing?
Why is my music playing?
I'm totally gonna lose focus now."
Is there a doppelganger Kaitlyn coming down? Well, there was, and it was AJ, and she was in a muscle suit. And I don't know, her mannerisms were like, she was like, whoa, like, and she had the Pepe Le Pew hair going on, and I just thought it was really funny.
It was funny, and she made reference to, I wanted a guy with a voice as deep as mine, somebody whose thighs are as big as mine, or whatever. Yeah, I mean, or my legs.
Well, and she was referencing Biggie Langston.
Yeah. And
I never thought I'd find someone whose thighs were as big as mine. Like Adam's apple. I won't go there. Goes,
no, it was a great segment.
Yeah,
I loved it.
My notes were AJ is damn entertaining, and every week, she does something that kind of makes me chuckle, which is why she's probably in the position she is.
She gets it, and you can tell she's been a fan her whole life,
Yeah.
and she keeps saying, I think she's 26 now, and she keeps saying, I've been working 14 years for this, and so that would put her at 12. And she's a fan of wrestling. She loves it. She knows it, and you can tell she knows wrestling.
Have you seen that photo of her meeting Lita when she was about 12?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
And they had that clip of her waiting outside for WrestleMania tickets.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden. And people like that, people who are passionate about wrestling and have a knowledge and grew up as fans, you can tell which ones they are.
CM Punk.
Based on their characters.
Daniel Bryan, AJ. And you can tell the people who aren't. Mason Ryan.
Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger, yeah. They just kind of are in it because they're big and physical. And,
it's a payday.
Yeah, they graduated and they have nothing else to do. Their dad doesn't have a job for them,
They don't want to sell insurance.
Yeah.
No offense, insurance sales is awesome.
Yeah. There was a big announcement on Raw as well.
What?
Yeah, a huge announcement.
Which one?
The new cover.
Oh, God. Okay.
WWE 2K14.
Yes. But that was leaked.
It was fine.
Around, I think it was leaked around WrestleMania.
Really? I hadn't seen it.
Okay, because I knew who their cover guy was.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be The Rock. I didn't know what it would look like, though.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know what it looked like either, but I knew it was The Rock. But no one was supposed to know it was The Rock.
Yeah.
Someone leaked it, and they if I'm not mistaken, it was the person who leaked it accidentally did it. They didn't do it intentionally as a leak. They thought it was common knowledge. Sure. And then it got out there on Twitter and blew up, and I remember Stephanie McMahon or somebody being very upset that it had been revealed that it was The Rock as their cover guy. So I was half paying attention when they were talking about you can make your own cover.
Yeah.
So what's that for? Are they going to release a special edition with a cover or what?
The cover will be dual-sided. So if you decide you don't like The Rock or something, you can have the special design that was made by one of the fans. And what's great about it is there's already been like a crap ton of, fake ones or, potential ones that are really funny. And what was the one I saw? Oh, what's that?
Well, we'll look it up right now because they have a hashtag. Is it WWE 2K14 cover contest? Is that what the hashtag
but I saw it on WWE memes. You follow them at all?
No, I don't. But and side note, I did a search for Christmas on Twitter.
Yeah.
One, it was already in the auto search.
Of course.
Christmas with MUS.
MUS.
And there were quite a few references to Christmas. So Twitter proving once again that no one is original. We all think alike, I guess. So let's go. WWE. This is great. Riveting radio, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's WWA 2K14 cover hashtag. So, yeah, I would encourage anyone and everyone listening right now to do this. You are getting to see some pretty sweet covers.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably see some funny ones, too.
I'm trying to remember his name.
This one's pretty sweet. Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I actually just saw that one, too.
Look at that. Yes.
How about this?
Yes.
David Arquette.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. What the crap is his name? The freaking 3MB, the redhead. What's his name?
Heath Slater.
Heath Slater. I cannot remember his name.
Here's another good one.
Nice.
Lobster head Sheamus.
Lobster head. But no, it was just great. Like they were everywhere on like Reddit and Facebook. All the new covers. There are a lot of funny stuff. Maybe I'll go and post some.
What about CM Punk doing the Captain Morgan pose?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want that? I know this is riveting. Us just looking at photos. But,
yes.
What do you think about the cover?
I think it's okay. I mean, I knew that people would start bitching about it because people love to complain about everything, but
pretty much.
I saw some great Twitter reaction from a couple people I follow. They're like, hey, it's a cover, not the game. Let's not sweat it. I mean, who cares?
I heard that the Attitude Era is going to be part of the game again.
Do you know in what way? Because
no,
of course we know if anybody who saw the trailer, they saw Stone Cold's in the game, Macho Man Randy Savage is in the game,
which is cool.
But Macho Man was in WWE 12, right?
He was downloadable content.
Okay, yeah, he was. And he was also in, of course, WWE All-Stars. There you go. Slater's gonna slate.
Yeah, Slater's gonna slate. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah, there's just a lot of fun stuff. I'm really excited to see what people can come up with. Maybe if you guys see any ones, you could tweet us, and we'll retweet them and put them up for our listeners.
I think it's safe to say this is one they won't be going with. For some reason, a cover that features two Chris Benoits. We have stern-looking Chris Benoit and then smiling Chris Benoit.
Because it's on. They're going to have a hell of a feud.
I think he will be downloadable content as well.
We've had a lot of great matches on wrestling games. There was a pretty great match on Raw as well. Jericho took on ADR, Alberto Del Rio, recently heel-turned Alberto Del Rio. And it was actually pretty solid. It was a really good match. Jericho ended up winning after disqualification after...
I want the Willem Dafoe cover.
Willem Dafoe for no reason at all.
That was a good match. Yeah. And I didn't understand the ending, though. Ricardo coming into the ring to beat him with the bucket. What would have made more sense is, okay, so we have Del Rio in the Walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
All Rodriguez had to do was reach out and have Del Rio grab his arms, and then he could pull him to the rope, and the match could have continued. But instead, Rodriguez jumps into the ring and starts beating Jericho with the bucket.
Yeah. What I don't understand is, Alberto Del Rio has been a face for a long time, and all of a sudden he decides to kick Ziggler in the head, and now Ricardo Rodriguez is a jerk again. Well, I don't know how that correlates.
I think it's that Rodriguez probably just wants to stay employed by Del Rio, so he'll do whatever he says, and he will back him up and support him in whatever he decides to do.
I just wish that the two, the extremes weren't so extreme, when you're a heel compared to a face. I can totally justify Alberto Del Rio's actions, which is what made it interesting in that match. He wasn't being a heel, he was just being opportunistic. Why couldn't he just, have said that? People were still going to boo him.
Well, because I think people are some of the fans, I don't want to say they're so dumb, but some of them need it spelled out in black and white like that. And I think they want a clear division between who cheers for Ziggler and who boos Del Rio. Yeah, you're right. It's easy, of course, but they're in a really weird spot right now because Ziggler's not being shown with Langston and AJ.
And for no reason at all.
And they're both clearly heels.
Yeah.
And Ziggler is, still playing the babyface role, even though he's not a full-fledged babyface. He had the encounters the past 4 or 5 days, I guess 6 days if you're not counting TV, if you're counting real life. But he's had the encounters with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, which was really... Okay, Jericho's clearly a face right now. Del Rio gets disqualified after hitting Jericho in the head with the bucket. And out comes Ziggler to beat up... Another great cover with Sting. Ziggler came out, beats up ADR, because he's going after the World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he hits the zigzag on Jericho and gets heat. I'm like, okay, what was the point of that if you're trying to get him over as a face? I don't know. It's just really iffy decision-making on the way I look at it.
The only thing I can figure is that they will revisit that Jericho-Ziggler feud with it reversed. Ziggler face, Jericho heel, sometime before Jericho departs for the summer.
I think Jericho's done after Money in the Bank. I think that's why he's facing Ryback, actually. Ryback's going to take him out. Ryback's going to look great. He's going to get his first win on a pay-per-view in a year. Jericho's going to just be dismantled by Ryback, and that's why he's going to be written off TV.
Well, then this will plant the seeds for Jericho's return. They will keep that Ziggler-Jericho feud going. Maybe right now what they are envisioning is that we'll see a great Ziggler-Jericho WrestleMania match with a title involved.
I would love to see that. I was hoping for it this year.
Oh, am I boring you, Matt? Is that what you're yawning?
It was something else I was boring. Speaking of Ryback, he had a match, beat Khali. No biggie there. Had to bring him back some way after his 900th defeat in a row to John Cena. And Cena had a promo that he cut on Mark Henry, and it was just kind of...
I totally thought they were going to job Ryback to Khali, because they kept talking about, this is a former world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And the offense, I think Khali got more offense in on Monday than he's had in the last 4 years combined.
Yeah. Well, it's tough for him to get much offense in when his foot's turned in, and it's I don't know.
I'm terrible.
I'm sure he's a
happy birthday.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I can't believe he has been employed by them for. He's been there for 8 or 9 years.
It's good. Yeah, I thought he was gone a while ago, because his contract was up.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to stay healthy. He wanted to do movies and stuff. And then he shows up to the Rumble. I'm like, oh, I guess he's back, and he's dancing around with Natalya and Hornswoggle, and I don't understand, what are they? Why is Natalya
They're waiting for Tyson Kidd's return, I'm sure, before they find something else for Natalya.
It's really weird. They're gonna the Total Divas TV show on E that's debuting next month. Shows Natalya getting engaged to Tyson Kidd. And it's weird because the show is semi-kayfabe, and they're going to be showing Natalya getting engaged to a wrestler who is not Khali, but in storyline, she's dating Khali.
But does anybody actually believe that they are a couple, though? That leads us to a bigger thing, though. I think that people are having trouble buying into some of these wrestling storylines because they get to see the people how they really are
on Twitter.
Yeah. And I mean, am I really supposed to believe that CM Punk is conflicted with Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel and Brock Lesnar when 20 minutes after Raw I see a picture of him holding up a laptop with the Chicago Blackhawks celebrating the Stanley Cup championship and smiling, or him handing $1 to John Cena, near their buses? I mean, I like that. That's fine. That's cool. They should be able to do that. I think it's fine because we're all adults and we understand that this is not real. And I mean, kids, hopefully, the 8-year-olds who believe that this stuff is real, hopefully they aren't on Twitter. They shouldn't be on Twitter.
See, at least when we were young, well, at least when I was young, I don't know how old you were, but
I'm only 3-4 years older than you.
I'm 28. You're 31.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was 13, 14, and I'm watching the NWO.
A couple 13, 14.
Yeah. What?
Never mind.
A couple 13.
Some people will get that reference.
Okay, whatever. So I'm watching the NWO rip it up on WCW. I'm watching Stone Cold. I'm buying into it. I'm buying into these guys hate each other, because they blurred the lines. They were, a lot of them, their personal stuff was out in the open. The Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels stuff.
Yep.
The Bret Hart hating Americans and loving Canada and getting that mixed reaction depending on where WWF was located that night. You just had it felt more real because they actually brought personal stuff into it and they blurred the lines of what real and what wasn't.
And that was the only time you got to see them.
Yeah.
There wasn't a place online to go look and find these guys. All you had was at the time, the company's websites, which were just, shoddily done because everybody was kind of new to the game.
I wish, instead of, they've kind of gone backwards. They've kind of gone back to the 80s style of promotions and wrestling, and where, faces and heels and there's no line blurring anymore. And CM Punk is the closest we get to a mesh of the real person and the in-ring character. I wish they could somehow incorporate Twitter, incorporate Tout, and get more personal about it and really kind of become their characters rather than okay, my character's in the ring and he's doing this and he's saying yes, and then I go home and I'm drinking beers with so and so. Why can't they meld those two personas and blur the lines and make it more exciting for the people watching. That's what I hope for.
I think you're onto something. I think they will get there because CM Punk has been the one to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to take Triple H getting the reins and Vince McMahon going away or dying or whatever he needs to do for them to be able to do that. We'll see it slowly but surely. More and more people will get there, and you'll see characters like that. But then you also have characters who they don't quite get the non-wrestling part of it. They don't do that. You see Punk's heavy on social media. Cena's heavy on social media, but he caters to the, he's more his character. Yeah. He's never really his actual person. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. He's always playing his character.
He's always playing John Cena.
Yeah, where you have for example, Ryback. Why is he Ryback 22? I'm sure 22 is his favorite number. Maybe it was his number when he played football. But it's irrelevant to Ryback, the character. Mm-hmm. So when you see at Ryback 22, to me that's that doesn't make sense. Or if you see J.C. Layfield, for JBL or Bradshaw, whatever the hell you want to call him. To me, it's okay, if you really want to go full persona all the time, get rid of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, although I don't like those people who are WWE insert name here. Yeah. Really? Or the real whatever.
I loved when heel Ziggler.
Yeah.
But now he's a face.
That's I've wondered that. I've wondered that to myself. Is he going to remain heel? Because I think he needs to remain heel Ziggler because everyone knows him as heel Ziggler. Mm-hmm. It was mentioned about a year or a year and a half ago when he really started to become relevant. Somebody said they were surprised that WWE allowed him to use the word heel since that's kind of an inside term.
Well, and then they started making those kayfabe shirts or whatever, heel.
Hashtag heel.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's not even, I don't think those are WWE shirts. I think he had those shirts made because those are sold on barbershopwindow.com.
Oh, okay.
And they wouldn't sell that if WWE had licensed that. So I think that's something that was manufactured, and that because Nick Nemeth, the real life name of Dolph Ziggler, is kind of he's deep into wrestling history, and he's big into he's tight with a lot of those independent wrestlers. Mm-hmm. and some of that stuff you don't see on TV. That it wouldn't shock me if he said, look, I'm going to wear these shirts, or I'm going to have you guys make these shirts, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so I don't know, I just wish they could do it. One guy who did really do it well was last week with Mark Henry. He had another promo last night. Comes out, says he was nominated for an Academy Award.
Which is funny because, nominations don't come out till I think February, maybe even January.
The show's in February.
Yeah.
Nominations come out in January.
Yeah, early January. And he was not in a motion picture.
No.
So it's how can you be nominated for an Academy Award?
Maybe?
Yeah, you could say a primetime Emmy.
Yeah,
that would work. But to say you were nominated for an Oscar for that, you weren't in a movie, man. Yeah. Come on, get real.
That's stupid. So he says he's nominated for this Academy Award. Says that's not what he really wants, though.
Oh, that's good because you weren't in a movie.
Because you weren't going to win it.
You dick.
Yeah. He says he wants the WWE Championship, of course, and he's facing John Cena at Money in the Bank. And Cena had a promo earlier on Henry, and I thought both of them were kind of meh.
Well, I thought it was weird that he did the promo on Henry. Why Henry would allow him to stand on top of him while he was doing that promo. I'm sorry, that's just stupid. That's so stupid.
It's a good visual, though.
Somebody about to get their ass kicked.
You know what you did? You painted a word with pictures.
Oh.
Or no, a picture with words.
Wow. I was lolling at your statement there because I thought you purposely said that.
No.
First I lolled, then I serious.
Messing up my words.
Give me your keys. You're way too excited to drive. Okay, so yeah, the Cino. I'm calling him Cino now. That's what I do. Cino. Because he's the male version of Cena. Cena is female in Spanish. Okay.
It is.
Seen this promo.
Hey, hold on. My
Hold on. Okay.
Cincuenta means 50.
Yes, it does.
My Spanish name was Cincuento. I was the male form of 50.
Are you serious?
Cincuento. My original Spanish name was Sergio. Well, actually, it was Sergio.
You know Sergio?
Sergio, yes. And my professor, Senorita Kroll, or teacher or whatever, she would call me Sergio. And I'm like, and I'd always correct her. I'm like, no, it's pronounced Sergio. She'd get mad at me. She would go, Sergio. I'm like, I think I know how to pronounce my own name. You know, like, we're getting into it. But anyways, what were we talking about?
Mine was Umberto. With an H.
Ooh,
Umberto, yeah.
I feel like that's a guy who would have slept with my sister, and he has a mustache. Umberto.
Is your sister hot?
I don't know.
I suppose you can't really answer that.
I can't really
I'm going to look her up on Facebook right now.
I mean, many people have said she is.
I thought you were going to say many people have slept with her.
Oh my god. Okay.
You are disgusting.
Speaking of women who've slept with lots of other people.
Is it this? Is this her?
That is her.
Okay.
She's in the middle.
Let's see here. Of course she is. Of course she is.
Speaking of women who've slept with many men, Stephanie announces the Money in the Bank participants for the WWE Championship. She comes out, and this is a loaded field.
Oh, yeah. Totes, dude.
Did you like my segue, by the way? I thought that was a good segue.
Yeah, that's all right.
That was like a Joe Bluth kind of segue. Just awesome. CM Punk. Joe Bluth. The participants for the WWE Championship Money in the Bank: CM Punk, Daniel Bryan.
You got to tell your sister to secure her account here. I shouldn't be able to look at all these photos.
On all of it,
totally, yeah. Is that your mom?
No, that's my sister.
No.
Yeah, no.
That's your mom with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
CM Punk.
Your mom's cute too.
All right, well, you know,
things just got weird.
Yeah. CM Punk.
Yes.
Daniel Bryan, Sheamus, Randy Orton, Christian, Kane, and RVD.
Please, Randy Orton, as Stephanie Orton said. Stephanie McMahon, she goes, Randy Orton.
I feel really weird that you're still looking at photos of my sister.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
like
you've literally gone through about 30.
More than that. I think I'm back to like 2006.
Yeah. Oh, she graduated from high school. There you go.
How old is she?
She's 20.
And I don't mean that in a creepy way. I'm just curious. Now. Okay, she's 24. All right. Oh, look at Matt graduating college. Oh,
yeah. My blue tie.
Yeah, your sister's she's a nice looking gal. There you go. Right. Congratulations, Bush family.
There you go. I'm sure your girlfriend approves.
Well, my girlfriend doesn't listen to this because she doesn't like wrestling.
Well, I'm gonna tweet it to her.
Yeah.
Is she a tweeter?
She is a tweeter. She tweets.
Sweet.
She totes tweets.
I bet she's tons of fun.
Somebody call my mama. Somebody call my mama.
Yeah, we already talked about that. But after the three-way number one contender match, the Shield came out, and then they showed their titles, and then they walked away. So
yes, they did.
That was fun. But what do you think of the 7 people in the ladder match?
I think it's a great mix. I think every time they have one of these things, there's a guy in there where you're like, he's definitely not going to win. It'd be impossible to stack the match in a way where you could have 7 believable winners, because it would take away from...
Kane's not going to win.
No, and neither is Christian.
Christian's not going to win. Orton...
RV Dong could. RV Dong could.
Danny Bryan could. CM Punk could.
Yes.
I mean, Danny Bryan's the probably the favorite to win.
Yeah, and my money in the bank is on Daniel Bryan, because I think I was going to say CM Punk. That would be the female equivalent of CM Punk. CM Punk will win, or not win. He will get a title opportunity anyway at some point. But I think Bryan will be the one to win the Money in the Bank.
I really don't think Daniel Bryan's going to win.
Stop
the
that.
Money in the Bank.
Who do you think will win?
Let me look at the list again. I think I might have just deleted it, though. You know, I can see Randy Orton winning. Make him relevant again. He hasn't been in the main event in like 2 years. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, he's just been out of it. And I think he would have a good chance to win, because Daniel Bryan, I think, is going to get a shot at Cena at SummerSlam, regardless if he has the briefcase or not.
Okay.
So I could see that happening, and then maybe Daniel Bryan wins, and then guess who tries to cash it in? Randy Orton, extend that feud. I would like to see that.
That'd
I think
be
it'd
awesome.
be a really interesting angle.
The only thing, though, is I seriously think Mark Henry will win the WWE title at Money in the Bank. And I know it's hard for me to say that because when you think of SummerSlam, you think of marquee matchup, and you think, okay, well, no, there's no way Cena won't have the title at SummerSlam. I could see them going with a SummerSlam main event of Cena and Henry, with Henry as the champion, and Daniel Bryan cashing in the Money in the Bank there. Because if you remember, it was just like when he was on SmackDown 2 years ago. Mark Henry, World Heavyweight Champion, loses the title to Big Show.
Big Show.
And
Knocks him out.
Daniel Bryan comes in and pins him to win.
Yeah.
You could have the same situation happen where Mark Henry loses the title to Cena and then just decimates Big John.
I don't want that to happen.
And then Bryan wins.
Like Danny
and
Bryan,
then Henry gets his rematch and it's against Bryan.
Daniel Bryan, I think, has earned the opportunity not only to be in a main event match, to be a headliner, but to win cleanly and win it without like, oh yeah, but he did this. You know, the guy was knocked out, like his World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah. And his World Heavyweight Championship run was kind of a joke because of like how he would win the matches.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about one of his matches in a little bit here because he was such an underdog, and we're going to talk about underdogs for our top 10 list.
And we have a dog with us too.
Yeah.
Who looks completely disinterested in our podcast.
Yeah. Where was I going with it?
You said Bryan deserves
Daniel
that
Bryan
spotlight.
deserves not only to be in a main event, but to win a main event.
And to look strong.
Cleanly and win the championship with no questions about it. You know, like he won. Mm-hmm. Like just how he beat Orton, you know, cleanly. I mean, it was a street fight, but, you know, that was all within the rules. Just like how he, you know, took out the Shield. He deserves to win cleanly and not have a jaded championship. Anytime someone wins a championship under like nefarious ways, their whole run is kind of tainted. They become they have to just get lucky. You know, it's not a real title run to me.
Kudos to you for using nefarious. Awesome job.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite words in my lexicon.
Oh, okay. Now you're really reaching, dude. Come on, you ruined it.
No, lexicon's one of my favorite words. That
just
juxtaposition.
Yuck.
You don't like juxtaposition?
I do, but I'm yucking at your use of that one word you just said. Lexicon.
I find it rather shallow and pedantic. Okay. Yeah.
Was that on The Simpsons?
It was Family Guy.
Okay.
So, see, Paul Heyman and CM Punk continued their feud as well. They had a promo. Punk challenges Paul to tell him the truth and say that he's... and he says that he's coming for Brock Lesnar, CM Punk says. Heyman says he didn't have anything to do with the Lesnar attack, and they eventually hug it out in a Team Hell No kind of style.
Loved it, just making out.
Yeah.
What?
There was a moment when they were hugging that it kind of looked like CM Punk was kind of like not like he was
yeah.
There was something in his eyes that kind of made him look like he just wasn't like.
I couldn't tell if he was going to give him a GTS for that, or at that point, or if he was like holding that pose for the sake of like lead-in promo purposes.
I just feel like it looks like CM Punk is planning something.
Yes,
and he's setting the seeds. Like all you need, you need like in a cartoon. It would have been a dog with like shifty eyes. You know? It would have been like, it would have been like.
No,
that, really.
and I know Punk is going to do that, because what gave it away for me was Heyman's look of surprise that Punk said, "Sorry, I ever doubted you."
Yeah,
and it's going to lead to. It's going to lead to a Punk double cross, but I mean, technically it won't be double, because right now Punk's siding with Heyman would tell you that, okay, Punk is going to remain kind of a heel, but he's not going to. He's converted to babyface, so he's going to have something happen with Heyman and use it against Lesnar. And
I just feel like CM Punk is a step ahead of Paul Heyman right now.
yes, he is.
Like he's got something planned, and I can't wait to see what he has planned. Then he had a weird match. It was just a random match against Darren Young from the Primetime Players.
And Darren Young, I don't know why they made him look so tough, but
Really?
he beat
it was
he beat the piss out of Punk for most of the match.
Yeah. Punk won with an oddly put on Anaconda Vice. It wasn't his most fluid Anaconda Vice. Titus O'Neil, the teammate of Darren Young, attacked after the match was over.
And it was so sloppily done. I mean, anything Titus O'Neil does is sloppy.
Yeah.
And Darren Young is not that much better than O'Neil. So I could tell Punk was struggling in the ring with those guys.
Yeah.
Just struggling.
And to make matters worse, Curtis Axel comes out, tries to save CM Punk. I don't know. Like maybe this is part of the groundworks for something bigger, but it was weird.
I thought it was a new Nexus reunion.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this.
And just bring Bray Wyatt back, and you've got 3/4 of it. And where the hell's Otunga?
Husky Harris, I should say.
Yeah,
where is Otunga?
Actually, it wouldn't be 3/4; it'd be 3/5 because Mason Ryan was also a member of the new Nexus.
And I heard Mason Ryan has done really, really well recently, and in either FCW or ECW, or not ECW.
It'd be FCW.
FCW or NXT.
FCW is NXT. It's FCW like all the time, but then they'll have their NXT show.
Yeah.
So.
But I heard he's gotten way better. So
that's good. That's good.
I mean, he's got the body, he's got the power.
Well, he looks like he's Batista without the tattoos
or agility.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that was a weird match. I don't know what's going on there.
And I think Mason Ryan's real name is Dean. I'm going to look that up right now. I thought his name was Dean. He's from Wales. I know that.
And then that just left us with our main event and Daniel Bryan. Awesome match. I loved when...
that match was so fun.
Yeah, I loved when Orton was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, he's Barry.
Yeah, Daniel
Barry
Bryan's...
Griffiths.
Barry?
Barry Griffiths. It's Barry with an I.
Oh.
B-A-R-R-I.
That's like a pinky up when you're drinking your tea. That I, it's just like a little, instead of the Y, it's just a little class to an otherwise unclassy.
I think it looks like a female's name.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wonder if it puts a little heart above the I, to dot it.
Maybe.
I love that main event. I love the Orton when I was when he checked on Daniel, like, make sure he was okay. Daniel's like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and then he hits him with the kendo stick again. I thought that was awesome. I love the finish because they set it up earlier in the match where Daniel Bryan had him in the no lock or yes lock or whatever the hell they're calling it now.
My gosh, the lapel lock. Someone bitch. No, I think it's. I don't. What did he? They call it the no? I think he still called it the no lock last night. Or they called it the Patriot lock.
I'm pretty sure that's
no. It was the Bryan Plex. Is what they were calling it.
The fucking Bryan Plex. No, Daniel Bryan's got him in the no lock the first time, and Orton grabbed the kendo stick, hit him in the head a few times, and got out of it. Second time and the final time, Daniel Bryan's got him. Orton grabs the kendo stick again, starts hitting him. Daniel Bryan blocks it and uses the kendo stick to wrench on his neck even more, causing Orton to tap. Awesome finish, great storytelling, just really cool stuff. It had moments that harken back to last week's injury. Just well done.
I agree. I shouldn't say I agree. I should disagree. No, I liked this match because last week you had no DQ. And stopped short because of, I don't care what they tell me, real injury.
It was.
So they made up for it by having this street fight, which you knew was going to win compared to, I can't remember what the other choices were, but I think it was Falls Count Anywhere.
Lumberjack match.
And Lumberjack, that was it. So you knew that was going to win, and they did it well. I didn't think that they were going to have Orton tap on TV or on
he hasn't in over a year. He hasn't tapped in over a year. In a non-pay-per-view setting, but as soon as he applied the kendo stick, I knew he would tap, and I thought, well, that's your perfect excuse. I mean, look at this. This guy is clearly in pain. He's going to tap. A great win for Bryan, and this will help his ascension. This will be huge for him. Yeah, and Daniel Bryan has kind of been an underdog story. He's kind of become the Rudy, I guess, of WWE, and I think it's awesome how far he's come and where he's going, and overcoming odds. And I feel like he just took a photo of me or something. Did you?
I just vined.
Are we live tweeting?
I just vined us.
We vined?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
We vined.
Did I look good?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, let's take a listen.
We're live vining this.
It's awesome overcoming odds, and Ryan has kind of been an underdog story. He's kind of, I think it's awesome overcoming odds, and Ryan.
Vine is a thing.
It is,
but
yes.
no, Daniel Bryan's overcome so many things. I mean, he got released from the company for choking Michael Cole.
No, Justin Roberts.
Was it Justin
with
Roberts?
a tie?
Okay, yeah, it was Justin Roberts with a tie. I mean, he was an indie darling. He's undersized. He's just an underdog story, and he's really overcome a lot of stuff. And what we're going to talk about, is it a top 10? Or did we just kind of have like a list of things?
We should just call it a top 10 plus.
All right, it's a Hulu plus 10, and what we got is the greatest underdog wrestlers of all time. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna name them, and then we're gonna tell a match where they like their biggest underdog match that they overcame and ended up winning. Do you want to start off the list, Jim?
Yes. Now this is in no particular order, but we initially did try to construct a top 10.
But it's such a vague,
yeah, it is.
Idea.
And to me, we came up with the idea of top 10 underdogs late afternoon today.
Yeah, I was literally at work.
Yeah, Matt suggested it, and I put a list together quickly. And in fact, we went back and forth, and I think it's even worth noting our back and forth here. Matt said top 10 underdogs. I said okay. He says cool. I said 1, 2, 3 Kid. He replies Rey Mysterio. I say Hurricane. He replies Daniel Bryan. I say Eddie Guerrero. He replies John Cena. I think he was being a dick. I replied...
John Cena's always been an underdog in every match. You know that? That's why he always comes from behind.
Equally as sarcastic, I said Floyd Mayweather Jr. Mm-hmm. He says Rocky. I say Bruce Willis. Armageddon. He says Rudy. I say the surviving townspeople from the movie Tremors. He says you win the thread. So there you go.
And then he gave me the thumbs up.
Yeah. Got a little ponage there. Ponage is about 5 years ago. Sorry, I shouldn't say ponage. Okay, but here in no order, here's who we thought of. I thought of Dwayne Gill right away. Dwayne Gill, a.k.a. Gilbert. And I recall a match he had with Christian for the light heavyweight title. Christian won the light heavyweight title from Taka Michinoku in, I think, 1998. Yeah. And Taka had it for a while. I don't think it had been defended for a while, but he had it. Christian wins, and then he fights Dwayne Gill, who's at this point just a jobber. He's still a jobber. He always was a jobber. And actually, I think he has a wrestling school now, though. But he had the support of the Job Squad, Al Snow, Bob Holly, pre-Hardcore Holly. Maybe he was Hardcore Holly then. I think he had just become Hardcore Holly. And then I think Scorpio was in the Job Squad at this point. And Christian was cocky the whole match, showing off, pinning him and lifting him up, and not taking the match seriously. Yeah. And Dwayne Gill won. So, to me, Dwayne Gill, light heavyweight champion. That's when you have a jobber win a title, definitely an underdog.
Yeah,
there.
It leads to a shocking moment as well. Mm-hmm. And next on our list, one that we put on our text messaging was 1, 2, 3 Kid, and I really wanted to talk about him. And he was one of the guys I had in mind even before he texted it. I remember one of the most shocking moments as a kid. I was a huge Razor Ramon fan, and when the 1, 2, 3 Kid beat Razor Ramon, like legit, like I remember it was like a moonsault off of the ropes, and it caught Razor Ramon, and he got the 1, 2, 3, and I think that's where he got the nickname 1, 2, 3 Kid. I think. I could be wrong.
I'll take your word for it. I never knew how he got that nickname.
But I think it was like 94, 95, right around then. It was pre-Attitude Era. And
I think it was 93.
Was it that
because it was before Razor Ramon became a babyface, and of course he left for WCW in like late 95, early 96.
95, 96, yeah. But it was a huge moment, and I remember I had like one wrestling magazine when I was a kid, and it was like talking about that match and the Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon losing to this 1-2-3 kid, and I just it just captured my imagination. I had it on, and I read about it over and over and over because my parents only bought me one magazine. So it was a really cool moment, awesome underdog moment. 1-2-3 kid obviously turned into different things down the road.
X-Pac,
but yeah,
Six.
When he had the mullet and all that, 1-2-3 kid, awesome. Awesome
Pre-facial hair X-Pac.
Yep.
Another one on this list. I don't even know if I should mention this early, but this early, it's not a numbered list. But one that made Matt think of this was Daniel Bryan. Yeah. Daniel Bryan is kind of playing that underdog role now. Of course, he's a 13, 14-year veteran of wrestling. He's a former world heavyweight champion, even though it was kind of a reluctant championship. But Daniel Bryan certainly, I think, probably overall in his life could be considered an underdog because of his size and because of how many times he has been counted out by the so-called experts.
You just shouldn't be worried.
You should talk about the match though. The one that stands out for Bryan. It's a fun match that I forgot about until you mentioned it.
It was shortly after he had cashed in his Money in the Bank. I believe it was at Royal Rumble, and I could be wrong. But it was a cage match between basically the two biggest, strongest dudes in wrestling, The Big Show and Mark Henry. And you're looking at Daniel Bryan against these two, just going like, oh, okay, well.
I remember thinking he was going to lose a title.
Yeah, and he won it. He won the match in kind of odd way, but he legit beat up. I remember Mark Henry legit got beat up in that match, and Daniel Bryan went to scale the cage, and Big Show's holding them, and Big Show couldn't hold him anymore, and he dropped him, and he just fell, and that's how he won the match because Big Show couldn't put him back over the ring or the whatever it's called, the cage. And I thought maybe it was a mistake. Big Show was supposed to pull him back over because there was this look of shock on Daniel Bryan's face, and I'm like, oh, okay, the match is over. But that was a huge win for him. It was his first legit victory as champion, I believe, or one of them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was cool. Yes, that was beginning of the heel yeses.
Yeah. Another guy on this list, and this would go for his career overall, and what he became in WWE. That would be Mick Foley, Mankind, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, and his would be the WWF Championship match against The Rock.
Yeah,
where
on Monday Night Raw
with Triple H, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, Stone Cold, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, I believe, all at ringside.
Absolutely
China, maybe.
Insane.
Great match and a lot of fun. And this guy, Mick Foley, who had been a castaway, a guy that really had been known for some of his hardcore death matches with Terry Funk and as Cactus Jack in Japan and WCW.
Yeah.
Not death matches in WCW, but his work in WCW.
For anyone who wonders if they grew up, if they're a little younger than us, if they want to know why we love the Attitude Era so much, go back and watch this match that we're talking about right now and see the energy, not only in the crowd, but the crazy stuff that happened, all the different moving pieces, all the different moving parts. It all made sense, too, which was crazy. And it was such a huge moment, and the crowd goes absolutely insane. Huge. I mean, I love the Dolph Ziggler cash, and it was one of the best moments of my life, being there. It can't hold a candle to that moment when Mankind won his first WWE Championship.
Yeah, because even though that quick little Ziggler cash-in match had its twists and turns, the Foley match, I mean, other than the people who were watching WCW at the time, because Raw was taped that night, it was, I think, recorded on a Thursday the week before, Tony Schiavone, the WCW announcer, said, Mick Foley wins their world title later tonight. What kind of champion is that, or whatever? And that ended up being
he goes, that'll put the butts in the seat or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean that was one of the highest rated Raws of all time because everybody turned their channels over.
And I believe that was I could be wrong, but I believe that was the first night that Monday Night Raw beat Nitro in the ratings in 88 weeks.
Okay. I can't remember who it was, but I think you're right. They rehashed that in WWE 13 as well, I believe. But Foley, I mean, just an underdog in general, and what fantastic journey he had from underdog to Hall of Famer. Another one that we have on this list is Zach Gowen, the one-legged wrestler who in recent years has overcome a lot. He's overcome drug addiction and just kind of a shitty attitude. Admittedly,
yeah,
he said, but he's done some good for himself in recent years. But he came in and he defeated the Big Show. Did he defeat Vince McMahon at that pay-per-view, or did Vince win? I cannot remember. I watched the match. I remember Vince lost a ton of blood, but I think Vince beat him. I think he did, and it might have been with Stephanie's help. Either way, that doesn't matter. He beat the Big Show, and then that was on SmackDown, and that was kind of the biggest thing about him being on this list, and the fact that he has one leg. Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, by the way.
So that'd be a good reason to be an underdog. Quickly, we'll go through some others because we're about minute 5 in. Vince McMahon, I put on the underdog list. His match would have been the WWE title match. I believe it was on SmackDown against Triple H. He reluctantly wins it, and he ended up giving the title up, I think, on Raw the next week, just giving it up.
Yeah, amazingly, Vince McMahon has a match of the year at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Now, was that the Hogan match or the Flair match?
Michaels.
Oh, Shawn Michaels. Of course, Shawn Michaels. Duh. And we've talked about that many times. And then also Vince McMahon kind of being an underdog against Ted Turner for a little while, too.
Yeah, Ted had all the money. He was buying up all the talent, winning 88 weeks in a row. And Vince McMahon just didn't care, just kept going and won, and now he owns them. So.
And as Jim Ross would say, desperate men do desperate things. Yeah. Some of them bitch.
When a millionaire takes on a billionaire and the millionaire wins, underdog, that's a good story.
Yeah.
We should make a movie about Vince McMahon, I think. But anyways, obviously our number one, if we were doing a top, if we were listing him, has to be...
A number one?
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I was going to say, little Rey.
Rey Mysterio.
He would be number one in my book because he has had sustained success, and he went from this underdog period. Like, he went from, if you think about when Rey Mysterio first got his start in WCW, and I think even ECW before that, he was no different than a Juventud Guerrera or any other luchador.
I remember, if you want to... A good
when he gets thrown against the semi,
like a bullet.
And if you've seen that NWO documentary, they said the cops came to that because some fans saw that, or some people were watching that on TV, and they called the police because they thought it was real.
Yeah. If people don't know what we're talking about, the NWO took Rey Mysterio and dwarf tossed him into a a van or a...
It was the side of a semi.
Side of a semi, but head first. It looked like it looked like a lawn dart.
Do you remember on SmackDown a number of years ago? It would have been maybe 03, 04, or maybe even 05. Big Show. He had Rey Mysterio on a stretcher, and he picked him up and baseball swung him into the ring post.
No, I don't remember that one.
But Mysterio, you're talking about a former World Heavyweight Champion, a former WWE Champion, and a guy who...
$165.
Yeah.
And 5'2".
And he's had myriad wellness violations, though. That's not a natural build on him.
Yeah, dude.
And he's had 19 knee surgeries, as he reminds us about.
Don't try it at home.
Yeah. So, with Mysterio, though, you have to respect the fact that he became a main eventer.
Yeah.
And he became somebody who, huge fan favorite. I don't think he was ever a heel. I think when he was forced to join the LWO by Eddie Guerrero at one time, he was kind of a heel for a little bit, but he was pretty much a babyface the whole time.
I think his greatest underdog moment has to be the Royal Rumble, where he entered number one, outlasted everyone, and won it, leading up to WrestleMania 20.
And again, 22?
Possibly.
It was 2006. So 7 years ago. Yeah, 2006. 21. Yeah. Or 2002, 2006 WrestleMania 22. Because that was 7 years ago and we just had 29.
It would have been 21, though. Because WrestleMania was 1985. So 2005 was...
But we just had 29 in 2013. 7 years ago, it would have been WrestleMania 22 in 2006.
Yeah, that makes sense, too.
Yeah. I'll kick you in the nuts, okay?
No, don't do that.
But Mysterio, now correct me if I'm wrong, he was the second one to go from number 1, because wasn't Shawn Michaels number 1?
Shawn Michaels had done it before, yeah.
And then didn't somebody recently do it from number 2, which is essentially the same thing as doing it from number 1?
I don't remember.
I can't either. We're mind blanking. It's almost midnight right now.
Yeah.
We're just like off our balls. I don't even know what that means because we're off our balls.
Well, I don't want to.
But yeah, Mysterio. Other ones quickly. We'll just run through them. Hurricane. I put on this list because he beat The Rock when The Rock was a heel, and this was like 03, 04, whatever. It was a good match from what I remember, and he's little. Chris Jericho was the underdog in the Vengeance tournament in 2001 when he defeated The Rock for the WCW title and Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWE Championship.
Undisputed, the first
Yes, undisputed. Eddie Guerrero was the underdog against Brock Lesnar at No Way Out, I believe.
Yeah, and then he won at WrestleMania 20.
Yep.
The Undisputed Championship.
No,
he was champion.
But it wasn't the Undisputed Championship because Chris Benoit was the World Heavyweight Champion.
It was the Undisputed belt.
Yeah, it had the belt look, but they changed it because it did not have Undisputed on it. God damn it. I'm just kidding.
It's the same exact design.
Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer was the underdog throughout his time in ECW. Mm-hmm. He held the title once, and I think he held it just for like 20 minutes. I think he ended up losing it to, I think, Just Incredible. Hardcore ECW fans, please tweet us or send us a message saying whether that's right or wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did that. Maven was an underdog, eliminating The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble, which, by the way, Maven was never eliminated. He was pulled out of the ring under the top rope by The Undertaker and beaten up, thrown into a popcorn machine, but never allowed back into the match.
So that Rumble's still going on?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, no, it's not. He won, because I'm sure... No, I bet the winner that year...
Probably
and
didn't jump over the top rope.
Didn't, yeah. You're right.
So yet to be decided.
Yeah. And that's our list. I mean, we threw the Brooklyn Brawler and David Arquette on there, but
and Bo Dallas.
Yeah, and Bo Dallas.
Yeah, I know that YWC
YWC, the YWCA.
Well, no, there's
the young women's.
There's a YouTube wrestling community. There's an internet wrestling community.
Okay.
The IWC, I should have said it. Hates Bo Dallas with a passion. And I don't understand why. I think it's just because he's like all smiles and gumshoes. And
his name is Bo Dallas.
Bo Dallas.
Gumshoes?
Yeah.
Young detectives?
Yeah, they're young.
He's all smiles and young detectives.
I was thinking of like gumballs or something.
You were thinking of gumdrops, but...
Gumdrops and, gumshoes and whatever.
I knew what you meant when you said it, though.
Well, I was hoping you'd let it go. But you didn't. But we need to let you go. We need to let you go. We've run long again, as we've been known to do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. Be sure to check us out on iTunes. Give us a rate if you haven't done it yet, and subscribe. Twitter, at Immortals PCast, at 97Bush, at Jimmy Bellamy. Check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on
WordPress, Podbean.
Yeah.
We're on everything. Just Google us,
Vine.
find us.
We're Vine now.
We're Vining.
You can check it out. You can see how awesome we look. And
we just live Vined on Twitter, and I can't thank you guys enough for this. Matt and I have been talking just in recent weeks and recent days just about how fun this has been for us. Yeah. We love doing it, and we hope to keep it going, and we appreciate all of your support.
Yes. From viewers like you. All right. Thanks, guys.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Take care.
Peace.